Welcome back. In this training video, we'll learn how to add a manual journal entry in Foura and post it to the general ledger using two different methods. So let's get started. The majority of the journals posted in Foura will originate from the posting assistant. These journals are referred to as system journals, generated by system processes. Please see the posting assistant tutorial for additional information. To post a manual journal entry, we will access the Add Journal form. The Add Journal form can be found in the Accounting and Finance main menu, then in the General Ledger submenu, which displays the Journal menu icon in the functional menu. The form can also be accessed by typing JRN into the menu code area of the Foura Navigator. Like many forms in Foura, the Journals form has the functional sections of a browse form. The header section contains the main menu, a toolbar, a quick filter, and a filter bar. And as you can see, the filter bar default is set to the last current open period when the form is first opened. We can use the Quick Filter drop-down menu to select preset filters to see current month's journals, journals in draft status, or recent journals within 3 or 30 days. For this tutorial, we're going to focus on entering a new manual journal. To add the new manual journal entry, we need to select the plus button in the form header. This will open the Add Journal dialog box. From here we can select the company, the ledger, the period, the journal source, and the journal type for our new journal. We can add two types of journals in Foura, which are the accrual journal and the general journal. The accrual journal will automatically reverse in the next period following the period your journal is posted. We can also add new journal types to suit your needs. For example, if you preferred that payroll journals posted to the general ledger with a unique journal type, we could set up a payroll journal type, which then could be selected each time we processed a manual payroll entry. All journals must have a description entered, as indicated by the yellow marker to the right of the description box. Users can also add notes to help describe what the purpose of the journal is, or what the activity details were. For now, let's enter a basic journal entry using the general journal type, with 2 lines for a prepaid amortization entry. And we'll leave the When Posting, Reverse this journal in the following period box unchecked. This checkbox would be automatically checked if we had selected the accrual journal type. Now we'll select the Add button in the footer to open the Journal Edit Post form. The format of the Journal Edit Post form is familiar. It has a standard menu at the top, a header section with some process buttons, the grid section in the middle, and a footer section at the bottom that can display journal totals and a record counter. In the header section, we see that Foura has assigned a sequential journal number to identify this activity. And the information that we previously entered in the Add Journal form can also be seen above the grid in the form header. We have 2 options for entering a manual journal entries into Foura. We can enter data directly into the grid section of the form line by line, or we can use the standard journal import template, which allows us to prepare and save our journal entries in Excel and copy-paste the journal data into the grid of the Journal Edit Post form. This can be a huge time saver when you have multi-line reoccurring journal entries to the same accounts, but your amounts and dates change. We'll do both to show you how simple each one is. First, we'll do the direct data entry method. For this example, we'll enter a simple 2-line journal. For the first line of our entry, we'll enter the document date, either by direct entry or using Foura's drop-down calendar function. This indicates the date the transaction occurred. The account code field is a required field, which is indicated by the yellow marker to the right of the field. So we will enter the account code either by direct entry if we know the account, or by using the drop-down menu to view the active accounts within the chart of accounts. Users can sort the account selection of the form by selecting the header of either the account or the description to sort the fields. For this scenario, we'll say that we have prepaid some insurance for the entire year, posted it to a prepaid insurance account of $1,500 on the accounts payable invoice. Now we want to amortize 1 month to expense. Now we'll enter a credit for the amount we want to take out of prepaid and amortize, and add a description, a reference number, and the supplier code. Now we'll move to the next row in the grid. The document date defaults to the date entered from the row above. We'll enter the account that we want to amortize the insurance expense to. In this case, it's account 6800. We'll enter an offsetting debit amount in the amount field. Copy the description, the reference number, and the supplier from row 1 and paste it into the appropriate fields in row 2. We can check that our journal balances by selecting the sum icon in the footer of the form. If the numbers are the same, the journal is in balance. Now we can validate the journal by selecting the Validate button in the header section of the form. Doing this prompts Foura to run through various validation processes, such as checking to see if the period is open for posting, if the account codes we selected are active, and if the supplier codes are required but not entered into the rows. Our journal is valid. If for whatever reason the journal did not pass the validation check, Foura would display a small red X in the first column of the grid, which is dedicated for any validation messages. Hovering your mouse cursor over the red X will display the validation status message, which will direct your attention to resolve any issues. If we have some backup documentation for the journal, we can attach it electronically to the journal by selecting the Attachment button. To learn more about attachments and attachment management, please refer to those subjects in Foura's help file. The last step is to post the journal to the ledger, which is done by selecting the Post button on the header. The Post process runs a validation process prior to posting to the ledger. If everything goes as planned, Foura will provide a message that confirms the journal posted successfully. Now let's see how easy it is to use the second method of entering a manual journal entry by utilizing Foura's journal import template. Let's say we have a recurring multi-line payroll journal entry that we want to post to the same accounts every pay period, with only the amounts and dates differing each time. The recurring data for this journal can be set up once in the journal import template and saved. Then each pay period we could update the amounts and the date and whatever else is needed. Then the data in the spreadsheet can be copied and pasted into the journal edit form for posting. Here we have a simple multi-line journal entry saved in the journal import template. The header data with a period, journal, and description is not required but useful for keeping track of your journal import template entries. The header row in the template is important, in that the header row descriptions must exactly match the header row descriptions in the journal entry form. The only required fields in the template are the account, the transaction description, and the amount, but it's best to enter as much useful information as needed for later reporting and analysis. So let's say we've updated all the pertinent data in our template, and we're ready to post to our journal. The beginning of the process is the same as for the manual data entry. Select the Journal Menus icon, which opens the Journals form. Then we select the plus button in the header form, which opens the Add Journal form. Then we double check to make sure the ledger, the period, the journal source, and the journal type is set correctly. Now we can leverage the use of our journal import template. First, copy the journal description from the template and paste it down into the description field of the Add Journal form. And select the Add button at the bottom. This action brings us to the Journal Edit Post form, the same as when we created our manual direct entry journal before. And we can see the next sequential journal number has been assigned. And the information we previously entered in the Add Journal form can also be seen above the grid in the form header. Here's where the magic of the Journal Import template really comes in handy. We'll go back to the Journal Import template, select the data including the headers, and select Copy. Now we'll go back to Foura's Journal Edit Post form, and select the Paste Append button in the header. Instantly, the journal data appears in the grid, and Foura provides a message that your data has been successfully imported. Now, if we want, we can check the totals at the bottom of the form to validate the journal as we did before, attach any documentation, or we can simply select the Post button in the header and post the journal to the ledger. And that's it. Foura users can enter manual journal entries directly into the Journal Edit Post form, or easily paste data from Foura's Journal Import template. It doesn't get much easier than that. Well, that wraps up this tutorial. Please be sure to check out additional tutorials to learn more about Foura's powerful features, processes, and tips. Thanks for watching.